Now on this particular project, we've been sharing the mortiser, the bocce, with the sophomores, and we don't want to throw off their settings. So these things are only about 1.5 inches long, and we've been doing 1-inch mortises. I really don't want to shove them in all the way. So what I'm just going to do is make a mark at 3/4 on these guys. I'm only going to shove them in that far. All right. Now, whenever I glue up a door, especially if you're a novice and you haven't done a lot of these things, as you do more and more doors, you'll get more and more skill and feel more confident doing things. But when you start out, it's good to do things in stages. So I'm going to start this door out by just gluing in the tenons into the rails. A little bit of glue in there. Get a you want to get a bottle that's got a small tip so you're not just flooding it. Get a glue brush, brush it. This was a wet one, that's why I'm getting that discoloration. And then just put a little bit of glue on 1/2 of it. I'm just going to kind of press it in. Till I'm right about at my 3/4 mark. Making sure they're coming out straight. And I'm going to do all of them that way before I go to do the final glue up. Now I've gone ahead and done a dry fit. For gluing up doors, these Bessey clamps work the best because they do a nice job in keeping the door flat. These are what I would recommend. I would stay away from the bar clamps that we have hanging up on the rack. These tend to do a better job in terms of keeping things flat. So having glued the tenons in all the rails, I did a dry fit and pieced the whole thing together. I want to take a look at a specific joint at this point. Okay, if you look at this joint that we have right here, you can see how the rail is a little bit high. And we have this shoulder right here. What's causing that is this tenon wants to slide back. It wants to slide back in the mortise, but this area right here is hitting the wall, so it needs to go back further. So what I have to do is shave a little bit of this off with either a chisel or a hand plane, and that will allow it to slide back and become flush. If this is too far up, what will happen is this won't be able to seat. For this miter to seat tight, it needs to slide back, and you'll get this not tight, a little bit of gap here, and the shoulder in the back. The solution to that, once again, is probably to take a little bit off of here. Now, on the other hand, if you've got a gap here and the rail is not able to slide up to close it, what's happening is this edge is probably hitting the wall of the mortise. So either take a little bit more off the top of the mortise or skim a little bit off of here until you can slide it forward. And you want to make sure you have a tight miter and a tight joint as well. That's very, very important. Okay, I've gone ahead and tweaked that joint and got it where it's looking good. And I've gone ahead, and I want to show you this, marked each of the joints so that it's clear which one goes with which when I do the actual glue up. You don't want to have confusion when this whole process is taking place. Okay, to glue the door up, I'm only going to do half of it because I'm going to leave this as a sample for you guys to look at. And on a lot of times I will only glue one half of a door at a time. I'm using this block to get it loose. A hammer would probably dent it and such. You can see how nicely these guys work in terms of holding it. So I'm going to put a little glue in each of the joints. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue the tenons, but just the lightest of film on the tenons. A very light amount on the tenons. And that is enough for both of them right there. Now this one seems to need a little bit of persuading. I'm just going to give it a gentle tap. A gentle tap. This one might need to be moved a little bit as well. So I'm just checking for squareness this way. I don't usually do the measure corner to corner, but I don't have to. Now what's really, really important is that one, you haven't over tightened because that will distort things, and that two, you have kept it flat. I need to be able to set my ruler down across these joints and see no buckling whatsoever. I need to make sure it's good. Too much pressure can make that happen. The other thing I'll do is look underneath at the bar and see how it looks that way. But now when this one's dry, and I'm going to leave it loose so you guys can take it apart and look at it while I'm gone. It's a very moderate process. Keep in mind everything is oversized so that we can cut it down later.